Hey guys, and welcome! Today I want to take a closer look at 10 changes that were made with update 3.0 in Battlefield 2042 and that you might have missed, but that are very interesting and nice to know. And I want to start with a new ping system because even though it was mentioned by a lot of content creators, I don't think that many players are aware that this is in the game now. Battlefield 2042 always had a ping system, but it worked a little bit different from former titles of the series like Battlefield 1 or 4. In 2042 you could only mark a location where an enemy soldier or vehicle was, but you couldn't directly spot them with a red dot above their heads, so the same system we had in Battlefield 5. Now, after 3.0, this has changed, and when pressing the ping button once, you will now check the area your crosshair is pointing at for targets, such as soldiers, vehicles or gadgets. And if a threat is detected, they will get spotted with a red dot above their heads for yourself and your squad members, and also as a red dot on the minimap for your whole team. The spotting will of course only last for a short amount of time, and you can also only spot one target at once, so if there are several enemies you have to spot them one by one, and if you spam the ping button to check an area for targets, there will also be a short cooldown triggered. So the mechanic can't be abused by just sitting in a corner and trying to spot everything around you. If you press the ping button twice, you can still use the former mechanic and only place a danger mark at the location your crosshair is pointing at. The option to simply set a green marker for yourself to check the distance or tell your teammates where you want to go is not available anymore. This one was removed with the update. When you hold the ping button, you can still access the common rows as usual. By reintroducing this so-called 3D spotting to the franchise, DICE was aiming to reduce the complexity of the existing mechanic and also tried to improve the communication with your squad and teammates. It might also reduce some confusion since the former markers stayed on the map for a longer time and might have pointed at locations where no threat is anymore. And I'm using both mechanics now and I find them very helpful, so you might want to get used to them as well. What was also added to improve communication is an icon over vehicles that are in need of a repair simply to the medic or ammo icons of soldiers. So when you carry a repair tool with you and you are further away from a tank, you can now see this white marker with a repair tool icon above the tank once it took severe damage. The other way around, the tank driver can also see who carries a repair tool by an icon above the soldiers' heads. If you are in need of a repair, you can also request it with the common rows, hoping that the soldier will recognize it. What is also very helpful for tank drivers and pilots is the new hack warning when Casper's recon drone is trying to lock onto your vehicle to give it an EMP blast. Before the update, there was no warning and you just got the EMP and weren't able to use your weapon systems anymore, but now you will at least get a notification similar to the one for Rouse hacking. What was also changed is the throwing distance of C5, because DICE felt like this was used too much in close combat as a counter for infantry, so it was adjusted to be more in line with its anti-vehicle intent. It is definitely recognizable and it feels a bit like the C5 is sticking to your hands, but it's also still possible to use it for whatever enemy you like, whether it is a vehicle or infantry. It can be a bit annoying, especially since you need to get closer to vehicles now to blow them up, but in return gives them a fair chance to detect you, so I think this change is okay. What was made a lot better with the update, on the other hand, is the chance for vehicle destroy assists. So when you damage a vehicle and then someone else blows it up, it's enough to deal only one damage to receive an assist for the destruction and for all its passengers. Before the update, you had to deal a higher amount of damage to get an assist, but now this is a lot easier. This is especially helpful if you use the armor-piercing ammunition, the NTW-50 or the new Rorsch Mark IV and damage vehicles with them. Plus, it feels a lot more rewarding and is a higher motivation to fire at tanks or helis. Besides this, there were also a few changes made to the weapon balance, and I just want to give you a quick overview of this, starting with the SWS-10. Before the update, the sniper rifle used to have a one-shot body shot range within which the weapon dealt 100 damage to the upper body, and this range was within 20 meters and was introduced as a defensive mechanic to give snipers a chance in gunfights on close range. Unfortunately, this mechanic was abused too much lately, so with the last update it was completely removed from the game, and not only the SWS, but also all other sniper rifles don't have a one-shot body shot range at all now. No matter how close or far away you are, the weapon will not deal 100 damage to the upper body anymore, and only headshots are still one shot. In addition, the hipfire dispersion of all bolt action rifles was increased, which reduces their general hipfire accuracy. But there were not only changes made to the sniper rifles, but also to some others. The damage drop-off on distance was increased for the AKS-74U, M1911, MP412 Rex and PP29, and this makes these weapons a little bit better at medium range combat, but it's not equally noticeable on all of them. The AKS got indeed a bit better on this range, but still feels a bit weak overall. The PP29 was already pretty good before, and the M1911 also got a bit more useful on more than close range. But the most noticeable for me was the MP412 Rex. Even on a bit longer range, it's very accurate and still deals good damage, so it's probably the most reliable sidearm at the moment. For the Avances LMG, on the other hand, the damage drop-off was lowered, which means there is no longer a 4-shot kill range in close encounters. But the Avances is still one of the most played and best weapons in the game, so this is just a small tweak and no nerf. The M60E4 and SFAR share a similar fate, and both got their damage reduced from 28 to 22 damage per bullet within a range of 50 and 75 meters. But similar to the Avances, this is only a small change compared to the overall good performance of these weapons. Another change that was made is that the NTW50 deals more damage against light vehicles with both ammo types now, but in return the one-shot body shot range against infantry was reduced from 150 to 100 meters. Definitely noticeable, but a very fair change for a weapon that is meant to be used mainly against vehicles. Good news on the other hand for players of the AC42 and AK24, because for the AC, the bursts per minute have been increased from 160 to 170, and for the AK24, the single fire mode was added back in after it had been removed a while ago. All of these changes do not have a massive effect on the game, but they add to a better overall weapon balance. And then there were also 3 additions made to the options and especially to the customization of the HUD elements, because now you can change the single colors of your HUD and set the combinations you prefer. You can find the newly added settings at Display, HUD General and then Colorblind, and then set it to Custom. And while the first 4 color options have been in the game before, the Custom Accent Color and Custom Primary Color is new. Before the update, the HUD colors were connected to the Colorblind option you had set, but now you can choose them completely by yourself. In addition, you can also set the size for the interact buttons now under HUD icons, but that's just on the side. What was also added, and might be more interesting, is that you can change the intensity of the visual and sound effect for Zains Trait Perseverance. You can find this under Accessibility and then General, and by default this is set to 100, but when the visual effect or the heartbeat sound that gets played when the ability is active is too disturbing, you can turn it down here or even turn it off completely. And at the end, we got a quick look at some interesting aircraft or gadget in the new loading screen of Season 3, because here you can see something that looks like a stealth bomber or drone flying over an area. And according to our data miner Temporeal, this is an Su-70 Hunter G, a Russian stealth drone with smart air-to-air missiles and a payload of 6,000 kg. There's also an American counterpart to it, which would be the X-47B. We might see these being added to the game with Season 4, and according to the data mined description, they can team up with connected fighter jets. So it looks like Battlefield 2042 is getting even more into futuristic content with Season 4. And that's it for today. I hope you found this video helpful and interesting, and if you did, be sure to drop a like or a comment below and subscribe to the channel to stay tuned for more content like this. Until then, thanks for watching. I'm the Catwoman and you are awesome.